If you're a woman listening to this, you shouldn't have more than 2 sexual body counts. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you're a woman that's hearing this and you have more than 2, you have to do something that's important.
You did give them wiggle room. 2?
I gave, yeah, and I did. Yeah, right? Trial and error. He was talking trial and error, so I gave a little bit of
wiggle room. Right
I gave wiggle room.
That's
because
wiggle room right
how
there.
much wiggling do you want to be doing?
How much time do you need to fill?
What kind of wiggle are you trying to do?
No, seriously. How much time do you need to fill? First time, I'll give you that. You fell in love.
To give you a piece of my mind.
From Normal Bros, and we back at it again. First of all, I'm gonna need you to tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a mother effing friend to follow and subscribe to your boys. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other podcast platforms as well. You can catch us on YouTube and TikTok. That's Far From Normal Podcast. Make sure you type that into a search engine and see the boys on those clips. We got everything for you. We got the website, www.farfromnormalpodcast.com. We got all the links up there. Make sure you check it out. Of course, YouTube. We're on Instagram as well. That's far_from_normal_podcast. Check it out. You already know. It's your boy Fuzzy Vision. You know, I see the world clear. And you know, I see the future. And the future is bright. You already know. Fuzzy Vision with 2 N's. If you have any likes, dislikes, rebuttals, or you want to be on the podcast, hit your boy up. Sonny, drop the handle, baby.
You already know what it is. It's your boy, Sonny Frames. You can catch me on the gram at Sonny, SONNY, Frames, double S at the end. Make sure when you do check out my Instagram page, check out my stories, because I usually post a lot of stuff that has to do with motivation, inspiration, chasing your dream, and execution. So let's not forget, any dream that you're trying to achieve, the only way that you'll ever achieve it is through execution and putting a plan to motion. So make sure that you don't just stay in the dream world, and make sure you make it a reality.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
And Fuzzy, let's get him.
On the bushes on the gal, no matter how she looks, grocery store, the gym, fucking her driveway, the mailman wants to fuck her. Well, please, son, 16 and the bitch is 34? No way, dog.
That's a problem. And this is what I was saying to her. And the thing about it, I knew it was a problem. You know why? Because she kept quiet. And this is what I hate about myself when I'm dealing with certain people like that. She kept quiet, and I can feel the heartbreak. I can feel the pain, and my goal was not to get in that. But sometimes you're having a conversation. I didn't wake up that day to say, hey, I'm going to make sure this one hits you for the next 7 days. So going through that, I knew that women want to have children. You don't want to have children when you're 34. The problem is you get to 30. The reason why you're at 34 is because people like you were saying, that's not a problem. But most people know it is a problem. So that's why no one is co-signing that.
That is true. That is true.
That's why she's left that way.
So do you think girls should just get in a relationship with guys and then just not fuck? Is that what you think?
I think,
that girl probably been in hella relationships.
You know what I said to her? I said this to her.
She only fucks guys she likes, that she invests time in.
It's crazy.
34-year-old has a lot of time, bruh.
I said this to her. I
But
said,
now you have to look at why did she get up to 34
exactly,
and still not have a suitable mate?
And I said
that
this,
she could have bore children with earlier.
Exactly.
How come it had to take up to?
Yeah,
No,
but my whole thing is, with that aside, if she never slept with many people by the age of 34, where's your value at to you, for example?
See, that one's
If
that's
nobody wanted her, would you want her?
The thing is, that's a
There
catch
you go,
22 because
I would argue that
I actually have a homegirl that's coming to 30 years old, and she's still a virgin, right? Because she believes in like the Islamic faith, and she like kind of follows that to the T.
But has she done anal?
Nothing.
Okay, so
And
she's a
nothing.
pure virgin.
Pure virgin.
Okay.
And she's sexy.
And she's sexy. Well, she's pretty. I mean, sexy. The reason why I'll say sexy is because she's not going to portray herself as
in a
sexy.
sexual way.
So she has no sex appeal.
Very, very modest.
Moderate.
Just a moderate, modest girl.
So you can
But
imagine
she's
why
pretty.
she's a virgin.
No. She's pretty. Because if you look at her, you're going to be like, oh, this is a pretty girl. If she dresses up and dolls herself up, she's going to be a pretty girl. She's going to be like a sexy woman. But she doesn't do that. She lives like a modest lifestyle. So you're not going to say she's sexy. You're not going to give her like what women would like dress. When they dress provocatively, then you could give them the title of being sexy. But if they dress modestly.
We've all seen women in hijabs that are sexy.
Yeah, but it's because
Okay, so it seems
fully
I know
covered,
what
you
you're
could
saying.
just see the face.
He's talking about, well, I guess so. But at the end of the day, that's makeup too, right? So it
Yeah.
depends
no, but
what
finish
you're
your point.
talking
Finish your point.
about.
Well, what's
But
up with the virgin
Tell me
though? I
a
want to
face
know
has
what's
a
going
face.
Okay,
on.
yeah, no, so but
Of course it does.
no,
100%.
so the point I was trying to get at with her being a virgin at nearly 30 years old
Mhm.
is, do I find that appealing? Do I want a girl that's 30 and she's still a virgin?
Do you?
No.
Negative.
And the reason for that is because I could go younger.
Okay.
Why
Okay.
would I get the girl that's 30 years old that's a virgin when I could get the girl that's 23 or 22 years old
Screams problems.
that's a virgin?
Good
Screams
point.
problem.
That's a good prop. That's a good point. That one right there was actually a good point. I mean, they usually all are, but I'm saying because the woman that's in her 30s is no longer an intellectual or mental virgin. She's only virgin by her physical vessel, but her mind has already allowed all sorts of Satans in it to corrupt her and her way of thinking.
Yes.
So by the time you elope with that, even though the body's a brand new vehicle, if you want to call it that, the artificial intelligence or the intelligence of her is not brand new. That intelligence
Yeah.
is age 30. And in this world that we live in, when they're learning how to watch Love is Blind and all kinds of Love is Up, Love is Down, Love is Purple, Love is this, they've already corrupted their mind. So this is one thing I'm always trying to describe to women, especially when we talk about virginity. The importance of virginity is not just simply your body count. It's not just simply your vessel. Because what good is your vessel being clean if your mind is dirty? This is why even in the scripture, they talk about when it comes to adultery, if you've already looked at a person in that way, you've already committed adultery. This is what I was saying to that same chick. I was saying that because she was trying to say like, oh, these are Old Testament stuff. I said, no, actually Christ came in with the New Testament and actually doubled down on certain things. Because I was trying to tell her adultery, why it's so evil. Because I was trying to tell her not all sins are built the same, right? And I was trying to tell her that the greatest forms of sins are sins against Christ, such as a scenario of suicide. Because you're basically saying sins against God and this Holy Spirit, you're basically saying when it comes to something like suicide, you're saying, fuck God. I'm not even going to give you the chance to even forgive me and have me switch my life up because I'm even better than you to make a decision of getting out of here. So that's why people that commit suicide from the scripture is straight to hellfire, because you haven't even given Christ the chance to do the blood that's greater than you. The next one is adultery. And so when I said that, she's like, nah, it's not. I said, yes, it is. Because marriage, I was telling her, I'm like, what's a Trinity? And then she's like, it was getting very deep religiously, but I was trying to say that if you look in the New Testament, Christ says what? He's the groom and we are the bride. That's why he's trying to marry us. His blood's it's all about marriage. So I was trying to say that adultery is going against marriage. And different forms of adultery don't always have to be sexual. It can be from the mind. That's why the idle mind is the devil's playground. So you can be as clean as you can possibly be in terms of your vessel, but your mind is so dirty that by the time you're 30 years old, even though you have that vessel, it's actually quite telling. I know a chick, I was about to say her name. That's very her name's Kamisha. I'm gonna say it right there. Her name's Kamisha. I'm putting you got to. Kamisha, if you're hearing this, there's no real assault towards you, but you're a real human being, so I might as well target this one to you. She's a virgin, she's 28 years old and she's a virgin. She goes to church, oh, God, 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 God. But people like that, it's like, you're saying God, 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 but you're watching all these Lady Gagas and all these Cardi B's and you're doing all these types of things. It's like, that's not godly. So therefore, when a man elopes with you, he thinks he's getting because you're clean. He thinks he's getting something, wholesome, right? And of a certain kind of genuinity. And then he's gonna find out no, because you're the sort of girl that would divorce him after 2 years if you're not happy.
That is true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's stuff like that, man.
So at what age where would this be problematic for women? What age would this be a problematic then? Them being a virgin, as you said,
from when you're 17.
As Sonny was saying, if a woman was 30 and a virgin, that would not be as relevant to a woman that's say 22, 23 as a virgin, because he can just go younger, especially if he's thinking about having children, building a family, and just the dynamic just overall, right? So at what age is that relevant that they're a virgin? Because obviously it doesn't matter when they're like older as a virgin, because we still look at that as negative, because you said in their mind intellectually they're not virgins. They're
corrupted.
They've been
mentally
corrupted, or if they'd seen things, maybe they haven't partook for their own specific reason, whether that's religious reasons or how they were brought up. But the point of the matter is that they've seen a lot more, and they've maybe fantasized about a lot more type of shit. So where's the cutoff in terms of them being a virgin at all?
So this is the
And also on top of that, where's the cutoff of, you know, because even with body counts, with women sleeping with multiple men's, where's that cutoff? So I want to know where the cutoff is in age and also with body count, because let's be realistic.
Facts.
You can't judge a certain girl at
17
a certain
and
age.
1.
Well, here.
My
Here's the
bad.
thing. Here's the thing.
Mhm.
A woman that's say 35, are you gonna judge her body count to 21-year-old?
What do you mean by that though?
How much men she slept with if
The
she's
less
not married?
the less you're sleeping with, the better it is.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's better.
It just
But
means
I'm
are you gonna
asking,
judge
are
it
you
worse?
judging them
Are you
the
judging them on the
same?
same plane?
Because you don't.
Yeah, I don't.
Reason I'm saying that is because we just clarified. Sonny said
Hmm,
at 30, if you're a virgin, he's not judging them on the same plane as a 23-year-old virgin.
okay.
So
If
that's
you're
the
a
question.
23, if you're a 23 year,
So two-part question of the age limit, where that's relevant or not, and then also, again, body count. Are you judging the same as a 35-year-old and a 21-year-old in terms of body count?
okay.
And what's the cutoff? You said what's the
Yeah,
cutoff?
what's
How
the
much
cutoff?
is too much
What's
bodies for a
exactly-
gal you're trying to get with?
It's not about me. I'm talking from a righteousness
But I
you
want
position.
both
Yeah.
of you to,
Yeah.
to interject. Go back and forth with this one.
So I'll say this. Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I'll say this. I'll say, if you're a 23-year-old, you should be married. What I'm pushing for here is marriage.
Mhm.
And I think a healthy number and a healthy age to get married, I think is lesser than people actually think. I'll say 17, 18.
I would say about 19. I'll give you 19, 20.
19 in
As
today's
long as there's a
world.
teen to it, in my
Mhm.
view, I
That's
think
crazy.
not in that way, man. Not like 12 or 13. Man, okay, so maybe I should clarify and say that's 16.
Mhm.
But then again, let's talk about the Jewish people, right? In the sense that what are bar mitzvahs, right? What are what's the other one called, man? There's bar and what's the other?
Bat
Bots?
mitzvahs.
Bots?
Yeah,
so
bat
they all sound
mitzvahs.
the same.
With the women?
Yeah.
Yeah, bat mitzvahs.
The idea of that is to say that you've come of age. And I think if I remember correctly, when it comes to Jewish tradition, it mirrors King David and when he was fit to become king, right? When Jesse came up to him and said, or not Jesse, I think it was Samuel came up to Jesse, his father, and basically said, hey, this one over here, your youngest runt, he's the king of Israel. He's going to be the king. So the idea is that at that age, you're mature enough to be able to even rule, right? So if I understand it correctly, the tradition of the bat mitzvah and all these kind of mitzvahs are to say this person is coming of age.
Mhm.
So if you're coming of age, what next should occur is what comes with our procreation and unity
Mhm.
when we're talking about coming of age. In the Western world, we consider getting a car, getting a house as those tokens of I'm of age.
Mhm.
But in the spiritual realm and the things that are more that travel beyond Western borders, it should be something of marriage and procreation, which comes in the marriage. So from 13, 14, 15, if you want to be more on the safe side because we're in the West, then I'll say, okay, 16, 17, 18, 19, you should be in the process of getting married. Because that's when a lot of firsts can occur with your partner.
Mhm.
I use partner loosely because I hate that term, but I'm only saying
But,
if,
but let's
What's
get
your
back to
cutoff?
the question.
Yeah,
we don't
We
need-
need
we
to
don't-
get back to the question.
We don't
Yeah,
even need to go as far as that.
need to
I'm
get
not
back-
spinning anything.
We
I
don't,
answered
we
the
don't even
question.
need to go as
Let's
far
get
as that
back to the
because
question.
if you look at your own parents
Uh-huh.
and when they got married,
Yes.
you can see that they got married at a young age.
That's
they got
fine,
married
but
between
back
No,
to the
19,
not all the
question.
time.
19
You-
to
No,
22.
but-
That's the range.
yeah, but
Did I not answer the question?
Hold on, before we go any further, because we have to get to this question because we can't compare other generations. We're from a different generation.
No,
This is why the question is posed to you guys, and that's why I said, "Where's the cutoff age?
Mhm.
Okay,
Where's the
To do what? The
relevancy?
cutoff age to get married?
But the thing is,
Not
why do
to
we
get
have history?
married.
Why do we have
Bodies.
history? History is to tell us what was working, what was not working.
Yes.
And then that's what we should be going based off.
So how do you
Yeah,
know
the
what
new
works?
generations,
That's
the new generations, there's also things that are occurring in this generation that is not productive to the society
Yes.
right now.
Okay, but how do things get better?
Sometimes a good combination requires no change.
How
so
do
if-
things get better though? That's
Well,
the
we're talking about
question.
Trial
righteousness.
and error?
So not all.
You've got it right there.
No. Listen, you don't got to try.
Trial and error.
Trial and error. Okay, so if you have, a 16 body count, if you're a woman with 16, how much trial and error do you need?
Yeah,
What are you trying to venture
There has to
into?
be a cutoff line. There has
So
to be a
where's the
cutoff.
cutoff?
line.
This is the question.
My cutoff
Sonny,
is
what's your
my.
So let's go with Sonny first.
What's
What's
your
your
number?
cutoff? What's
First
the
of
number?
all, if I was in a situation where I'm
Uh-huh.
getting married, I'm at the point where it's going to be an arranged marriage.
What's the cutoff
That's
of
it.
the
Zero,
woman you're
zero,
dealing? So
zero.
you want a virgin?
Zero,
That's
virgin.
That's what your
Virgin,
cutoff is.
Arranged
No way.
marriage, arranged
Okay,
marriage.
so why?
That's
No
real
way
bullshit.
you want a
why
virgin.
do you want a virgin?
No way.
Because she's unsullied.
Unsullied.
Good point.
Are you a
Unsullied.
virgin yourself?
That's irrelevant.
It's different.
That is
That's
irrelevant.
different.
For
That's
the
different.
male and the female
Just
is
a
different
question.
because
Just a question.
that's a relevant question. That's a relevant
but it's a
question.
question.
No, okay, I'm not a virgin, but
Okay.
the what I'm trying to say is because I'm the key and she's the door,
Mm-hmm.
what's more important? The door that's locked or the key that could go through the door? The door that's supposed to be locked. If I could go through, and if I'm a master key and I could go through any door, I'm irrelevant. But if you want a strong door, let's say you have treasure behind that specific door, you want to make sure that it's a strong door. It's a strong lock. Not door, but a strong lock. You want to make sure it's a strong lock. So if I'm a master key and I could go through any lock, I could pick any lock. Then the lock it's a weak
Okay,
lock.
I understand.
Right?
understand
I
that
need a
point.
strong lock. Make sure that
It seems like what
Okay.
you're saying is you want a lock to respond to that master
That's
key or
what
to
it
the
is.
right key.
Yes,
the
You
right
don't
key.
want that lock to be so weak
I don't want
that
it to
any
be
key
flimsy.
can
Yes,
open it up.
yes.
Yeah.
Today's world.
It's not
into-
today's world. This is specifically for the Western world. If you go elsewhere geographically, you can find women that are actually virgins that are unsullied.
Even in
Mhm.
today's world, because I think what they're trying to aim at, they're trying to get this, what I'm about to say. They're trying to get, when's the cutoff? The cutoff is,
Mhm.
if you're a woman listening to this, you shouldn't have more than 2 sexual body counts. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you're a woman that's hearing this and you have more than 2, you have to do something that's important.
You did give them wiggle room. 2?
I gave,
that's
yeah, and I
wiggle room.
did, and I
You
did,
failed
and
one,
I
you
did,
failed
I
one,
did.
you
Yeah,
gave
right.
wiggle
Trial and error.
room.
He was talking trial and error, so I
Yeah.
gave a little bit
that's
of
wiggle room right
I
there.
gave wiggle room
That's
because
wiggle room right
how
there.
much wiggling do you want to be
Yeah.
doing?
How much time do you need to fill?
What kind of wiggle are you trying to do?
No,
So-
no, seriously. How much time do you need to fill? First time, I'll give you that. You fell in
20.
love, puppy love.
Nah.
30.
I'll give you 1, you fell in love, puppy love, whatever.
You're
Okay, I'll give you
sick.
that. Second time, you're trying
You're
again.
sick.
What?
You're trying again, and if you
You're
fail on
sick.
that second one, you got to get it on the third one. It's just like baseball.
I'll say this
3
much.
strikes, you're out.
No, but
No
listen,
way,
listen.
3 strikes, you're
I'll
out.
say this much. I'll say this much. I'll say this
3
much.
strikes, you are
Out
out.
of the women you know, do you know a woman that has 2? Have you talked to a woman that
Unfortunately,
has 2 or
no.
less body count?
No, obviously.
Yes, the one that I mentioned, the one that's
I'm
30.
talking about women you've slept with or women you've entertained.
If I slept with them, they obviously have more than 2 body counts.
That's
Why is
crazy.
it obvious? You just said they can make mistakes. So how do you know
That's
for
true. I
certain
could be
you're
their
not the
mistake.
second
Yeah,
guy?
I could be their mistake.
So
Well,
nobody
based
else
off
is
how,
good enough.
okay, I'll put it this way. Based off how fast I
He's
got
saying
it.
I am their mistake. That's
Based-
what he's saying.
Based off how fast I got it,
No.
that determines
But
that
if you
it's not a
sleep-
mistake.
Okay. Let's
Sometimes you
Let's
just
go to
think you're a
this.
guy.
But let's
What
go
if
like
you're a
this.
guy?
Okay, so when you get into these relationships with women, do you not have sex with them? Is that not part of the
Why are you looking at
plan?
me when you? Are you asking me?
I'm asking both
Oh.
of you. If you guys are talking
These
to
days,
a woman,
these-
is your plan to have sex or
That
So-
is the plan.
before you get married?
That is the plan. Yes.
Before you get married.
That wasn't
Before
my
you
plan.
learn her last name.
That
is
wasn't
the
my plan.
That's my plan.
So
My plan
your
wasn't-
plan is to
I didn't walk
up her body count without any commitment.
As I said, if
Immediately.
she's not a strong lock, that's not my business. I'm a master key.
Oh, that's
then they're
crazy.
The sole
I'm a master
responsi-
key.
They're the sole guys ruining
That's
the girls.
crazy.
For
the
us.
one-
I'm a master
the girl
key.
because you're going
Because
through
you're going
lots
through
rapid.
Yes,
You
exactly.
better be,
Listen.
you better be a strong
Blaming the
lock.
girl.
You better be a strong
Let me
lock.
blame
Blaming
the
the
chick.
girl.
You better be a strong
Oh.
lock because I'm coming with my key. I'm coming with my
You'll
key.
probably dash her away.
That's what I'm saying. So sometimes we become hypocrites too because we end up ruining the chicks that didn't have a crazy
Every
body
time.
count because we wanted to kind of experiment with them and be like, oh, is this the one?
Yeah.
And we had good intentions, but we never maybe had intentions to marry, right? So you end up in these relationships that are long term, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. you know, as many years as
Oh,
you
no,
want
those
to
are
say.
ridiculous.
But listen, because this is what happens, though. You know, you get with one person and you stay with them for multiple years.
That's true.
And you kind of secure that they're not sleeping around with everyone. You try to make sure, because we're in a relationship, hopefully you're not fucking on any other guy. So hopefully if you told me there's only one, I'm only the number two. So as long as I'm with you, I can only be number two. You're having a false hope that potentially could be false, right? So, but you're thinking because you're with her, but you're not committed. You never made no commitment.
You see, for
no
me,
bond. You never, signed no contract or put your blood on it or nothing. This is not a blood contract. You can do whatever you want. So at those stages, even if you're with the woman for a long time, you don't even know what the hell's going on because you're not committed like that. And if you really wanted to be with her, you should do that early. But if you're gonna be even in a long relationship, even for me, that's the same thing as fucking around.
So you made a good point with that, because we are supposed to, I think the
Mhm.
righteous man should be committed.
Yes.
I think the righteous woman should be committed. This is the reason why I'm talking about
Committed to what?
to each other in the unity of marriage. That's what I'm pushing for. So this is why. Oh
My
God.
heart.
Say your thoughts. Say your thoughts. Say your
My
thoughts,
heart.
bro. Say your
Oh,
thoughts.
your heart what, man?
Marriage. Committed. to
Marriage.
What?
Listen,
So what?
I would posit that maybe 85% of the problems that we're going through in this Western world has a lot to do with the breaking down of nuclear families and the breaking down of the institution of marriage. I think that I think we play around with it the way you're saying marry this and you're making fun of it. It sounds funny, especially coming from, obviously we're around the same age, especially coming from us. It sounds funny that especially someone like me should be championing marriage, because it's like how we've heard it not work for men is what's making us say this thing looks like a trap. But I think the greater trap is to have people think it doesn't work. And so people don't recognize the truth and the beauty that comes with that union. And so they abandon it thinking they can find answers elsewhere. Upon trying to find answers elsewhere, they're getting into what Ahmed was saying. They're getting into relationships that are 12 years. They're getting into relationships that are 4 years. All types of funny other things happen. So the reason why I was pushing for lower body counts for women, and I'll also say for men too, right? I think for both parties, the count should be low. Sexual sin and immorality is a real thing that affects us. So even if men are men, so it's like, oh yeah, I slept with 1,000 women. Yeah, look at me. That's actually not even a good reflection of who you are as a man. That lets me know that you're not a person who understands, to your point, commitment. You're not a person that's actually grown to recognize that there's a procreation calling and a unifying calling that's given upon your life to better the world around you. It is very vain. It's very carnal. And we have penises, so oftentimes we appreciate the feeling of carnality because that short-term feeling is good. But long-term,
I want to know about the last girl you smashed. Tell me the story. Tell me the last girl you smashed.
The
'Cause
last
I know
woman.
you talked to her very
You gotta
deeply,
stop.
and I want to know if any of this applied, because I know
Every
none of
woman-
this applied when you put it down on the last girl.
That's the
I
thing.
know zero of this applied.
I'm dead
A
serious.
lot of the righteousness goes out the
and I
window.
know you
think-
talked to her.
You think I'm talking lies. I'm not lying about these things. Listen, I
I know
live
you're
my
not
life.
lying.
Yeah.
Tell me about the last girl.
Which last girl? There's only one woman that I see. Right? So if you want me to go into details about that, I push for this. I push for family. You see what I'm saying? Ask any woman that I
Wow.
talk to now, because of turbulence or whatever I have going on in my life, ask them if I sleep with them. They try to put me in all these kind of positions where they have me like, oh, you know how these girls are sometimes, oh, I left this, or achoo. Like, they don't sneeze, but those moments of
Handkerchief drop.
seductics. Seduction.
that
My mouth
handkerchief-
accidentally fell in your cock.
Yeah,
right?
the
You have these kind of
handkerchief drops.
real talk. Or, oh, let's come to my house to, can we just go up for, listen, I'm at a stage where I'm steadfast on my goals. So if you ask these women that, I don't even like talking to these women, by the way. And they know that. I let them know. I degrade them to the, listen, I'm not a good man, but I say, well, I am, but not when it comes to these outside external forces that are trying to derail righteousness in me. I'm the type of person that if I'm going through my weakness, and I have to be incredibly weak to be going through this with a woman, but if I'm going through my weakness, then I'll use her and I'll let her know I'm going to use you, discard you. But I try to allow them to realize I'm not trying to be in bed with you. I have a woman that I'm focused on. I have a family that I'm trying to build in a righteous type of way. And I realize it comes with these sacrifices. So you're worth all the sacrifice, right? My woman is worth all the sacrifice. These sorts of outside external forces for what? Especially if they have high body counts already.
So
Like,
wait, I got a question. So
God
what
damn.
happens when the woman that you want to build a family with rejects you and
Well,
doesn't want to be in the relationship with you, even though that you may love her wholeheartedly, but she doesn't want to be with you for whatever
I don't
reason.
fall in those sorts of situations. That the situation that I find myself in that might be somewhat similar to the way you posited that question. There's a strong part that I play to it that has very little to do with love. You know, it has a lot to do with the inner workings of trust and other sorts of other things. So I was just saying this to one of my cats before I came here, because he was talking to me about my particular situation. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but he was saying, he's like, you know, it gets better than this. I said, sir, I'm not the type of male that has an issue being with multiple women. I'm not one of those that's like, I'm begging for one chick. Oh, I need this to work. But for the sake of family, I have to make sure that I deal with my duty, right? I follow what the honor codes look like and the righteousness codes look like. So I can't really speak for other people in those kind of situations. For me, mine is very intricate and different. So if you're asking me more specific questions on mine, I can answer, but I don't know what to say about that person that loves a woman that doesn't love them back. I have to ask, is it even love? How do you know what you know?
Well, if it started off as love,
slutty, you know?
no, I mean,
Yeah.
it could have
He's just a
started off as
slutty
love
guy.
and they were partners at some point in time, but then at some point she decided to walk out of the situation. Now that she's out of the situation and this gentleman wants to be with her,
If you have
how do they go about it?
if you have children with that woman, you have to.
If it's a
if you have
children's situation,
if you have
It's a little
children,
different.
if you have children, you got it. It's for your children.
Mhm.
It's not just
But
for.
I don't think you should do things for your children.
You should do things
I
for
don't think
honor,
so.
responsibility.
I don't.
So
believe
even
in
if you're
that.
being abused, by verbally
I don't
abused
believe
by
in that
your
because-
Come on,
spouse.
man. Why are we
The
doing this? This shit is gay.
No, that's a potential thing. What
This is
woman
what it
can?
is.
I'm listening.
Women typically obviously don't abuse you physically. What they'll usually try to attack is your they try and attack you mentally. So, and that's through verbal abuse, putting you down,
I'm not.
disrespecting you.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, you're not
right.
gonna put yourself through torture.
It's not.
because
That's
you're
not.
a
That's not
child.
always. As a man, we can't say that's torture unless that's
There's
torture.
certain scenarios where men are going through torture because of their child,
Yeah.
and they're putting themselves through hell because of their
Each
child.
scenario is
Mostly in the
different,
West.
man. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
nuances because that's why I can't give a blanket statement for
Yeah,
that.
but
I'm-
that's why I don't want you to.
Yeah,
That's why I don't want you even-
what I
Yeah,
will say
okay.
is this to
Mhm.
that point. I'll
Mhm.
say a righteous man, if you claim to want the righteousness isn't fun. Some of the things I'm saying
Yeah,
to you
of
is not
course,
this is not
absolutely.
something that
Absolutely.
my flesh wants to do.
No.
This is not something that, my penis wants to do. I have other ideas. But I know how to curb them because of a greater calling and a greater
Mm-hmm.
situation. So if you're pushing for righteousness, if you have a family with this woman, you've sowed your oats.
Mhm.
Responsibility isn't always fun. Most responsibility isn't fun. Going to the gym, doing certain types of things is not fun per se.
No one's saying
But-
that you're not going to take responsibility of the child.
The best
but do
way-
you have to be in a situation where you're with the
Better
woman?
homes. This is why when we were having a discussion on the phone, we were talking about traveling, and I was trying to say, like, one thing that I do appreciate about traveling is family travels. That's why sometimes people hear me and they think, oh, you don't want people to travel. It's like, as a solo individual, I feel like that's a carnal whore-like behavior. You should travel with your family. There's a lot more that you can get when you're actually going with your posse, with your group, with your union. There's a lot more you can get from that, from doing things in a solo
You
motion.
get
I don't
further,
believe that.
You get further, but you move faster by yourself.
Of course, you
Yes.
move.
That's what I
Good
want to
point. That's a good point.
Nihon. Let's talk about it, brother.
Well, now that you, I mean, now that you brought up Japan, I mean, not Japan, but like bringing up travel in
Travel,
general. Yeah. Well, the thing about travel and traveling solo, people underestimate how much growth you get from traveling solo because, especially when it comes down to you figuring out how to navigate through a society that you've never been to before. So understanding where you're gonna stay at, which city, how do you get from place to place, how do you understand the currency, where do you do the currency exchange, what you're trying to get to, so different destinations that you're trying to get to. how do you conversate? So you're actually forcing yourself to conversate with others. Even if you're an introvert, you need to communicate with others in order for them to help you and for you to figure out exactly where you're trying to get to at any given point. And if you do run into any trouble, you need to be able to speak to the locals or even other expats that you see around you to help you out. So you learn how to become self-reliant in a way because you're doing solo travel. But if you travel as a group, and which is great, you guys are gonna have a great experience. But
It's a crutch.
it is a crutch because now you can always run back to the group.
Or
That's
you're
your,
subjected to
So you're
yeah,
traveling.
You're subjected
you-
to
what the group wants to
whatever
do.
the group wants
Because
to
you
do.
don't want to
that's-
be an outsider or
Yeah.
you don't want to stand out in the group and not be a team player, like they say.
Yes,
You
exactly.
definitely don't dive as far into the culture as you do if you go by yourself. If you go
Exactly.
with
Why-
somebody else, we're comfortable. We do what we usually do. If I'm by
100%.
myself, I have to do things
Uncomfortably.
This
For
is-
what?
Yeah.
You guys are telling me all of this type of things, but it's like when
But
I
you ask for what? But then you just need to look in the history books of people that have traveled, and there's been
Yeah.
been very successful
gotta stop.
people. No,
Mer-
no, you
what-
have to
how do
look
merchants
at
become
you have to look at
as po-
historians.
Look what you're
of
telling me.
people
You guys
that
are saying
have traveled
merchant-
places. It depends what your travel is for, brother. It depends what you're traveling
What
for.
is your
If
travel
you're traveling
for?
whoredom, then that's for whoredom.
what is your travel
but that's
for?
for leisure and that's for play.
What is your travel for? Because I just heard.
Traveling can be for so many reasons.
What is your? I'm talking about the people that are in this space.
It would be multiple reasons. You
For-
go to city to
there's
see
no-
culture.
Just give
For
one,
what?
I'll give one.
And I've traveled
Okay,
too.
you give
So,
one.
so
Oh, Omar give one. That Omar give one first.
Oh,
say?
God.
What
My main shit is understanding, bro. I like to understand the way the world actually works
Mm.
outside of where I live. I like to understand how things go. Like, even if I don't know English, how I could get around
why?
any situation. Because I don't plan to just stay in one place all my life. I plan to move around and find the best situation for myself.
Why?
I understand what he's talking about because let's say if you're in one economy that crashes and your opportunity is no longer here because there's no work, the workforce is down, or they're not hiring people, or stuff of that nature. Let's say you were smart enough to pick up another language and understand a different economy. You've now given yourself an option to opt out of the current situation you're in by moving down to wherever you're going to. And another thing that could have occurred is the currency that you're bringing over there could have higher value, which will allow your money to stretch longer for you to live a more comfortable life and have a better place, like in terms of where you're living and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
And
Especially politics.
yeah,
There's so many
politics.
things
And
that
there's a
work
lot of
together.
reasons for why people
But
travel.
why? You guys aren't really answering what I'm asking.
I just told you why.
No,
why a
you
person
told
would-
me. You told me a secondary reason. What's the primary reason? You're
That
telling
was
me
the primary.
the primary reason is
Primary reason is to explore and to
for why do you want to explore?
because that's what humans do. Humans are
So you,
creatures of curiosity, I would say. They want to know how things work. Why do things function the way they do?
that
How do we change certain things?
those are first world recent privileges that some even don't even know how to afford it. Some people can't finance this. They're throwing all their funds into this type of stuff. But I'm saying this level of curiosity and exploration is a new phenomenon. We have to recognize
Not
that.
necessarily.
It is. Yes, it is.
So,
Because
so
who were
people-
these merchants? Who were these merchants that were merchant? And all these
Why did
merchants.
Christopher
they've been-
Columbus not stay where he was?
Who was Christopher Columbus?
No, but let's just
Let's
no,
not do this
no,
nonsense.
No,
What-
if you look in history, trade has always been a thing.
Has trade always been a thing for people? Now you can kind of see why I'm asking the
100%.
why. For people who have families and who are part of tribes,
Everybody.
migration
If
is
they
one
never
thing.
had certain resources.
Migration
and
is
they knew another tribe that was across the seas had it.
so
You think they never built a boat to go to the other side
For-
to find out, hey, how do I get this?
No,
I'll
they
trade you this.
didn't.
They didn't do no bartering?
They didn't.
What?
No, they didn't. I'm trying to tell you guys. That's why when we talk about history, it's like, that's when he said Christopher Columbus.
So the Vikings never left Denmark, Sweden,
To do what?
Norway
to
go
raid in England.
to go raid places because they had something that they wanted?
you just said what happened with Denmark?
Raiding because
Raiding
they
for what purpose?
Well, to take what they had. They had certain resources that they wanted. So there's two different ways.
But sometimes
There's
they just
way you
settlements.
can
What-
take
Yeah,
it.
settlements
What I'm
all
trying
the
to- what I'm-
time as well.
They were taking
They
land
built
too.
settlements
Yeah.
for sure.
They made
Yeah.
it all the way to the Middle East.
They
Are you
took
guys?
land.
Maybe I should ask. Are you guys getting what I'm trying to say with this? Maybe you're
I
not.
understand
What
you're
I'm
trying to
saying
say.
is
You're
that
saying
it's-
that these are these are potential things that can happen, obviously, with traveling. You're asking specifically what they travel for, and you're trying to target what the nuance of travel is now.
Yeah.
Because,
Kind of.
Well,
I'm trying.
because people travel for vacation. Like
What I'm saying
nowadays,
is
and, like,
nowadays
leisure and
most people are
enjoyment.
exactly
Yeah.
most people are traveling for vain and
for
carnal
vain-
reasons.
yeah,
so
they're
when
not
he's
traveling for what
exactly
he's-
so when he said curiosity,
Mhm.
I was trying to get to the point where, and I was trying to challenge the scenario where it's like you're that curious that you're gonna just go do that for what? What does it
here's the
satisfy
thing-
but your
here-
curiosity?
But here's the thing
What I
about
was
that.
trying to elevate, I was trying to elevate the notion of traveling. I was trying to say that to his point now, when he was talking about, the Vikings,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, raiding for what reason? If he hit me with saying so that they can bring back utility and resources to the tribe, to the family, then I'm pushing for that sort of travel. But I don't
But
like
that's what
this.
they did, though.
But that's why I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
but I'm not
but here's
okay
the
with
thing,
the
but
idea
in
of
his
people
opinion-
traveling, these girls that are like, I
Yeah.
just want to have a hot girl summer.
Yeah,
I just
but-
want to be a passport brother
Yeah,
and go over
so
here.
It's who you're talking to. It's who
that-
you're discussing
that's
with.
what-
But
What's
for
wrong
him,
with that?
his was
There's a lot wrong with
curiosity,
that.
But
What's-
his was curiosity
what's wrong
in
with
terms
it
of
is
what his travel
that's why I was
was.
trying to bring reality and
Mhm.
history to say that leisure travel is a new and recent
100%.
phenomenon.
100%.
Which
I don't think it's leisure.
it is leisure when that's because I was hearing some of the things you were saying.
You're bringing
And
back
it's like,
the
okay, you-
experience, right?
To
That-
do what?
That may be
I've been
to
asking
go
this-
back there and work. That may be to take
Let him
something
talk,
that
yeah,
you
let him-
saw that was
Yeah.
there that isn't where you are. Bring that to where you are
To do what with?
to gain capital, to
Yeah.
gain
To do what
opportunity.
with after that? So this is what I'm trying to say as men who are trying to esteem themselves and try to be better than normalcy. You should be doing that to build legacy and family and help your community and unify your peoples in a stronger way. You should be bringing those skill sets to your peoples, teaching them, hey, because I went to Japan, I learned Japanese. And do you know the niggas over there, they're doing this, that, and the third?
But in a
And
way, he said that. He said that he
I didn't hear
could
him
go.
say it like that.
So he said you
That's
could go
exactly
down
what
there.
I'm
No,
saying.
he
Bring
said
ideas.
no. He
You
said
can bring
he said
ideas
you could
yourself.
go down there, bring ideas back, and gain capital off the ideas that he gained
just now,
from
just
that.
now, but
He just said that.
just now. But before when you were saying
Okay.
other
Oh,
things,
yeah,
I wasn't
okay.
hearing that.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's why I was
yeah.
trying to say why. That's why I
Okay.
kept on asking why,
this is
right?
But this is why we said
Yeah.
multiple reasons. Don't kid yourself. There's all the cardinal things that we all love.
Of
right?
course.
Maybe not all of us love it, and maybe love doesn't exist. But point of the matter is,
Thanks for those
we lust
shots.
for all this stuff. So again, when you go on when you go to different places in the world, of course, we're from the first world. So, like you said, it's a new nuance where we're coming from the first world country, going to third world countries, being the man there financially, because obviously even a regular guy here, average Joe, goes to a third world country all of a sudden.
You're a
He's in
superstar.
the top 10% pretty much of the society,
Which
right?
is crazy.
So it's crazy, but an
Why?
advantage that men and women are going to use, because even women go and exploit for sex tourism.
First
as
world problems.
the same way as men do, right? So
Yep.
the point of the matter is you're gonna have both sides. You're gonna have people that are going to places and getting the information necessary to bring back, or seeing if they can move places, opening their mind, not keeping themselves constricted in a box. The point of traveling is to get outside of the figurative box that's your city. So you don't need to necessarily travel across seas, but you have to travel to certain regions maybe that can provide opportunity for
Mhm.
you, whether that's quality of life too. Because it can just be quality of life that you're looking for. I want to go to a place that's tropical because I hate the winter. My joints are fucked up when I'm here in the winter. Why am I staying here? Maybe I check this out and then I can plan 20 years from now, relocating there, building the
Mhm.
house, understanding the economy, understanding the scenario over there.
Good
So
point.
there's also
that's a-
long-term there's long-term things you can get from traveling sometimes.
That's
'Cause some people will visit a place 20 years later in retirement and go live there.
Mm.
That's a good point. If people our age are actually doing that
If they're
most
actually doing it,
times,
but
this
at
is
the
why
same time- but
this
even
is
for
why I'm being
leisure-
critical
But
towards
even
it.
for leisure, it's the same
Even
gist
if you're
because we do the leisure here in the same
If you're
city.
doing it for leisure, I also understand. I'm not
Mhm.
what if you're hearing me correctly, I'm not here saying I'm against travels.
Okay.
I'm against the sorts of individuals that travel too much, that use it as an excuse to foster fantasies.
Yes.
Right? Because when they come down here, the things you think you're running away from, they still meet you back here in the airport.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
debt still meets you here. Your lack of family still meets you here. All these other things still meet you here. And of course, I'm open to the idea of people saying, man, I just need a fucking break. I need to get out of this enslaved society. So I'm actually for people taking the migration, the temporary migration, to go learn and see that, listen, you can come out this box. I'm totally for that. But there's a new phenomena of people actually, it's almost like pay pigs. It's almost like wasting your resources and throwing it in a place that's never going to actually help you. It's no different from people that talked to me back then when people, back when there was like cable TV and you'd have to subscribe to these new channels, watch the Discovery Channel, watch this educational channel. People will give themselves reasons to believe, hey, I got this brand new vehicle so that I can learn to be better. It's like, no, you did this for carnality. So I'm always trying to say, be more critical with what you're doing with your time. And these days I'm hearing a lot of males moving like bitches that are like, hey, I'm going to go over there. We're even hearing people are getting deleted in places like Colombia because they want to get their dick wet. So for those sorts of people with those sorts of momentary passions and wants, I'm saying, hey, maybe don't be doing that.
Why not?
Because listen,
what the hell?
I tell these people they're getting deleted.
Bro, do what you want. If you want to go to Colombia, fuck y'all. Why not?
You know what?
You spend your little.
You know
check.
what?
Let's say you're a goddamn iron worker and you're walking on beams in the middle of the winter, all winter. And you want to go fuck a
my biggest gripe. You know what, Omar? You're totally correct. I see that position, and that's why I don't want to come across too preachy. I see that these sorts of people, they've earned a breather. They suffered. I like how you just said that. They suffered. So I'm trying to say, listen, if you're going anywhere to avoid suffering briefly, even if it's brief, all power to you. Bring back that sword. Because guess what? You don't want to just have a moment where you're compared to a lifestyle and a lifetime of being free. So don't feel free because you went out of the zone for like 2 minutes.
But sometimes you need to but sometimes you need to know what freedom is.
Yeah, so go taste your freedom.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying, because that taste of freedom that we get, like I said, as coming from a first world country going to a third world country, is a false sense of importance. Because again, the attention you get, obviously, the women you get, what you're able to do with your money, even in properties and whatnot. So you catapult yourself like instantaneously once you get off the plane, right? From your status. So if you're like, again, if you're average here, you go there and all of a sudden you jumped a couple steps, right? So you can see how that can be something very desirable to men, especially a facade,
a mirage.
And a lot of men would prefer the fake, and I'd say a lot of men like the idea and the fantasy of being the man, right? So being the top dog, in
which
the yard.
Is what you just said.
Yes,
a fantasy.
Of
so that's the thing you're seeing in the.
Hold on 1 second. But hold on 1 second. It is the reality when you're there. Yes, there's a certain reality there, but the reality of your life is that you may have to go back home, or more than likely are gonna have to go back home and make your money, work your 9 to 5 or whatever, then come back. You're not on a limitless amount of money where you can just chill and do leisure things every single day.
So what have you said with that?
So I understand in the sense where Jiraiya is saying,
I understand that too.
It could be a potential
because
detriment to the person.
Tourism,
but you never know.
Tourism,
it's funny.
You never know what's going to happen on a vacation or an event. You never know beforehand what you're going to find.
These meals that are getting deleted because of these reasons. Life is
get deleted.
It's crazy.
Let them get deleted.
I'm sure if they know they're going to get deleted tomorrow, they're not going to try to get deleted. Of course, death is a process. But I'm sure that. Do you want to die right now?
I don't want to die.
Okay,
right
so
now,
it's not a process.
But I don't have that choice.
It's unexpected.
It's not something I choose or don't choose.
If you can avoid it,
there is a term. There's a term that I seen today on like. There's a term I actually seen on Instagram today. It was called like "loser at home," but.
But
basically, but they're saying that like, so expats will go to different countries and be a loser at home, but like
but a king elsewhere.
Yeah, king elsewhere. So what Fuzzy was saying, where you go to a different country and then your status automatically elevates to the highest level, but it's like you're a loser at home. And basically, the interviewer was saying that. Is there like space for people that were losers at home and they go over to different countries and be a somebody? And he's like, yeah, of course. That's definitely a thing.
They have a whole show for it.
But listen, my whole question, even to that, because what's our idea or thoughts of a person doing that? Is there something wrong with that?
I think that's a cheat code.
Yeah. So if you're from a first world country, right, and you have enough to be treated like a royalty in a different country and you can live good and whatever, is that something that should not be promoted? Should you, where you started, that's where you need to make your success? Or could you go to where the advantages are?
But are they advantages is what I'm saying, because at first glance, it looks like an advantage. This is one thing I was going to say. I was going to say that
If
tourism.
your quality of life is better in
I
a
was
different country.
I was going to say that tourism is actually an extraction. It's actually wealth transfer.
It is.
Because
Of
what's
course.
happening is you're taking your
Absolutely.
funds that you've worked hard
Of
for,
course,
you're
fundamentally in a
paying
economy.
somebody else's economy. And in some of these economies, if there's welfare states, it's probably going to people that you would really not want that money to go towards, right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, this is the reason when we talk about this. I'm trying to say charity begins at home. Love and freedom begins at home. What I hate about the West now,
I don't
it's
know.
actually having a lot of males believe that you can't actually create that utopia or that positivity
Mhm.
where you are, that
Mhm.
you're supposed to run away. It's actually running away or flying away that you get picked off.
So wait,
one by one,
No,
they
no,
pick
no,
you
no,
up.
wait. Because
Wait, so
I'm
how about
is
if-
this country
wait.
designed for us
No,
to win?
that's
I
what I
don't
was about to say.
understand.
So
what-
historically,
Hold on, let him go,
so
let
if
him go.
historically
Let him go.
your country has oppressed a certain group of people, do you think you could build within a society that literally had their history built on oppressing a certain group
Yes,
of
you
people?
can.
I don't
You
believe
know
so. I
how?
don't
You know
believe so.
how? You
Let him
just
say.
said it. You just asked me
Mhm.
if you can build. What you asked me? If you can build a society, your
Could
kind
you
of
build
society.
within a society
Yeah.
that has
But
built
who's
a
done
history
it?
on
Who
your
has done
oppression?
it?
Yeah.
I mean,
What society has done that?
Isn't it this society that's done that on Aboriginals?
They've
The colonizers, the
have you
genocided
seen?
them?
Have you like? I don't know
They built on top of oppression, and it's working for them.
But
not
they were-
all
they-
of them.
they were-
not
they were
not for a good
oppressed.
majority
They
of
were
them.
the
No,
oppressor.
because what I'm hearing about like indigenous people, like the thought process that I get when I hear an indigenous person is they're drunks, they're gamblers, they're druggies. Like these are the terminologies that when somebody tells me about indigenous,
That's crazy.
this is
Very
what
negative,
they're very negative.
unfortunately.
It's not what you're trying to tell me.
What
You're-
What do you think
you're
I'm trying to
trying
tell
to
you?
tell me
All
that
the
they're
shrooms,
succeeding.
yeah.
That you're saying that because they were oppressed in their country, but they're still thriving.
No, okay. So what I thought
That's
you
what
were
I'm trying to hear.
No, what I thought you were saying is can one group of people go to a society that is oppressive and rise above it?
No.
And what
No,
I
I'm
was
saying if it's
Oh, that's not what you were
historically,
saying?
I'm saying
oppressing you.
I'm saying if they're historically oppressing a certain group
got it.
within that society,
How
can
does
they-
the oppressed
how-
come out
I mean,
of
that's
it?
the
how do they
story.
come out of
That's
it?
the story of America. That's the story of America when the
Forget
right.
America.
I'm
Let's
saying
talk
only-
about Japan.
right.
I want to
just-
know about Okinawa,
I'll
bro.
get the-
Okay, look.
You
One thing
have
I'll
to
say,
go
but
back, bro.
these are beautiful. Okay, so that's
Japan
the.
is a movie.
All right, let's talk about that.
And
let's
you've
talk
been
about
to
Japan.
Japan.
Yes, let's talk about
Yeah.
it.
And you've been to
Yeah,
Japan.
yeah.
So
Let's talk about it.
talk
You think
about
they
it,
want
man.
niggas there?
It doesn't matter. They didn't want niggas anywhere. They
Hold
didn't
on,
want
That's what I
niggas here.
noticed. That's what I noticed.
They didn't want niggas here in this
Yeah.
country.
No.
Listen,
I'm
So
telling
what-
you, what's the percentage of blacks in this country?
it don't. Okay, I see what you're
Oh,
good. You're
yeah,
good.
he's
Okay,
right. He's right. It's
That
like
was
what?
look,
What's the percentage?
but at
You
least
have to tell me, you get
we're
what I mean?
here.
But 10.
5%.
Yes, we're here.
5%.
But they're also in
5%.
Japan. They're also in France.
I know
they're
they're in-
also in
yes,
the UK. They're everywhere.
Okay, when we talk about the black problem, this is good though. That was a good counter too.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to say is that, well, we're here and we are allotted, whether we like that term or not. Let's just say, for the sake of playing this kind of color thing, we're allotted an opportunity to live and be here and be a citizen of here. Japan is not that same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
no,
Japan
yeah,
is
you're
very
right.
exclusatory.
Yes,
they don't want a
exactly.
situation where
They're
we-
mixing in.
I
where
think-
a lot of us.
I
Isn't that
think-
what's happening with the
no,
migration
I
bills?
think China would be.
100%.
I think China would be even worse than
China-
Japan.
This is
for
what
sure
I'm
worse,
exactly.
yeah.
We-
Japan is
So what are we
actually
doing?
a little-
What are we doing?
they're
We're
a
starting
little-
to venture
Yeah.
into countries that when we start looking into it, why the fuck were you there? You were there when the ethos of that nation don't even want you there.
But they,
Who wants you there?
But they don't just. It's not like they only don't want black people. It's like
Exactly.
they don't want
People
foreigners
there.
in
That's what I'm
general.
saying.
Like,
Exactly.
That's why they closed their border
Yeah,
for so long.
So when
Yeah.
they accept you, they're doing business with you in a way or two because it benefits you in the long run, or it seems like a mutual transaction.
It is
No.
mutual.
It is mutual.
It's not mutual.
It is
it's mutually agreed upon.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not
Right? There's not a
mutual.
slave where to take
yeah,
you there.
yeah.
But it's not not a zero sum. You both are getting something. In
Getting
that
money.
sense,
One's
is
obviously
definitely
going to get more than the other.
which is fine at
Yeah.
times. But what I'm saying is you're doing business with people that would prefer to be your enemies.
Mhm.
Which is a very different circumstance from being in a place where it's like, whether they like it or not, there's a space carved out, even if it's a small space.
Where is
There's
that
a
not the case?
I'm talking about the Western world right now. Unfortunately, we're here and there's a space carved out whether we like that space or not. I'm not saying accept this. Actually, what I'm trying to get to is that instead of using our resources to be going to other places that equally may not want us there, or they're more than equal.
Which
they're
is
actually
a lot
to
of places.
They're actually to a space where it's like, nah, that bullshit that happens in America, we don't even allow 2% of that shit here. So I'm trying to say, recognize where you're wanted. There used to be a term, I guess people say.
Now,
where it's
where's that exactly?
So back to your former question about oppression. That's why what I'm pushing for is resisting government tyranny.
Listen,
which is,
where is that?
Yeah,
Which place?
I'm not taking no.
if it's nowhere, if this nigga said Kobe Bryant Spence, if it's nowhere and we're all here, we got to make it here first.
No, we can't make it here.
Yes, we can. Now
There
with that
has to be
mentality,
something.
you can.
I
You're saying
think
there's nowhere?
I think there's you have to go back to your soil.
Are we trying to spread?
heritage.
Okay, so I would
I
say
understand
Africa.
where he's coming from in the sense that if you're a citizen within this economy, you have a better chance here than
Yep.
you have
Yes,
elsewhere
because
Yes.
you grew up with the system, you understand the system.
Everybody here
And
the
you
first time.
speak the language,
Canadian.
and you
only,
also have the benefits of the system.
That's
and
what
you
I'm saying.
also have the
That's what I'm saying. You have the
benefits of,
benefits.
and you also have the
Yes.
benefits of changing the system.
Yes,
You're one
yes,
of them.
You're one of them.
You're
Yeah.
not changing nothing in
Well, that's
Japan.
what I said. You're in the system. You're in the
What's
Yeah.
the plan to change it?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not really changing anything here either. I mean, they'll
Well,
they'll
you-
give you the false illusion that you are.
Stop
but
getting the
they'll
false
slow
illusion.
kill.
It's
Slow
time.
burn,
It's
slow
a false
burn.
illusion.
It's a slow burn. It's not. Yeah.
Slow burn, very
Listen,
slow.
It's only an illusion because we're not putting in practice that can help us
But
get
a
out of
slow
this. That's
burn,
what I'm
yeah.
trying to.
But like a lot
We've
of the
seen this
people
story
that
before.
are
It's a
making
slow
these
burn.
changes have a base that's outside of the country, but they're able to see, but they have a strong nation that's fueling the people that the migrants that do come here. They're able to build another base within.
Yes, usually that's
You
coming
can't
from your
build a
home
base
country,
within because they'll
usually.
always break it down. Every time
Same thing
somebody
as the
comes in and
Vikings.
they try and build a base, they always break
and
it
you're
down.
right, especially
Yep.
when we're talking about this is all black men on
Yeah.
this
In this
platform
yeah.
here. And when you think about, just being in North America and being black, some black people won't even identify as being black, right? They'll
Exactly.
say they're African, or they'll say they're Caribbean, or whatever the case may be, wherever they're from. Some will claim they're Hispanic, right?
Yeah.
So my whole thing is why it's hard to build here as black individuals is that we're not from the same nations.
Mhm.
We have different cultural backgrounds.
And
That
yet,
plays a significant
100%.
role in connecting black people together. So when you say, "Oh, yeah, like we have small spaces," no, we have small subspaces.
Yeah.
Like we black
yet-
is not generally
and-
every black.
and
Mhm.
yet,
It's only against whites where it's generally all
Mhm.
blacks.
and
But
yet,
then blacks have their own inner battles they have to
Not
deal
a
with.
monolith.
and yet, here we are. All of us that's in this space right now. So
Well,
what I'm
well,
saying
no,
with that is, this won't be able to be. This won't be able to
wait, 1 second.
exist.
No,
Oh,
but
goddamn.
1 second.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone in this room, is anyone of Caribbean descendants?
You're
Yep.
doing this. You're
One,
doing this.
right?
One that
nonsense.
he's half.
Anyone of African descendants?
doing this
Everyone's
nonsense.
everyone's
Yeah.
Everyone in
African.
this room is of
Is
African
descent,
descent,
and he's
right?
half Caribbean.
But
He's
listen,
half Caribbean, but just to put things in perspective, right? We're not having a guy from South America, a guy from the Caribbean, a guy
Or
from Africa, a guy
India.
from different parts of the world. Point of the matter is, there's more connection, I'd say, in this group of men that maybe other
And-
black men would not have.
this is likely to not occur successfully if we
Mhm.
have different men in this room choosing to want to opt out and go to a different country for like 6 months of the year or whatever have you. So
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say is that it's the same thing with like the penitentiary system. If you're stuck in a system that you don't realize, like you didn't want to be in that system, if you're trying to escape that scenario and get out of it, or at least modify it to a place that's a lot more conducive to your wants and needs, you can't be running outside. Charity begins at home. Think about beavers. If we're building, we got to build a nest. We got to be. You can't be. We're the only creatures that seem to be doing this, by the way.
Mhm.
That seem to be sending, mediums of exchange electronically, because we're still animals. Most animals, what do? They have to come together in a group.
Mhm.
Beavers aren't sending to another beaver. I don't know if
Absolutely,
beavers
but
exist
your
in other
group may
planets
not
or
belong
in
this
other
country.
countries.
That's what we're talking
Say that
about.
again?
There's
The
different types
group
of
may
beavers.
not belong
though.
from this country.
No, but even with beavers, there's different types. Like there's different.
I don't know too much about beavers. I
Okay,
should have
like,
actually
okay,
been well read.
different species. Like for example, let's talk about the cat family, right? There's leopards, there's
Yeah.
jaguars, there's
Cheetahs.
cheetahs, there's tigers.
Obviously, the best thing is to
there's
stay
lions,
within.
but
Stay
you're
within.
within your
The best-
category.
It would seem that the best thing is to be homogenous. Yes, I get that.
yes.
I'm open to that idea,
Mhm.
and it may not be the best in always, because even if we were trying to talk about Japan,
Yeah.
once upon a time, even till now, you see, let's even talk briefly about Japan and say Japan can afford to close its doors after it's learned from opening its doors. Right, so usually what happens systemically around the world is if you actually close your barriers and you don't trade with other societies, eventually you'll actually implode and just your civilization will
Where you
live
fall
forever.
behind. Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas others end up being advanced, right?
Yes.
So trading and bartering with different nations and different groups of people, that's important. What I'm saying for
And doesn't that have to do with you traveling?
Yes, it does. Yes, there's a lot of nuance to what I'm saying. I was
Okay.
never against traveling. I'm saying that the times that we're in, we shouldn't utilize traveling as a scapegoat.
No,
as
I
a-
know what you were saying.
Yes, that's what I was saying, and I was also saying that a lot of these
But I'm
males,
against that.
a lot of these, I know you are. People like you are probably trying to be traveling.
You need to run away from something. Take yourself to an island, fam, and come back clear your mind.
Yeah,
You can't be
honestly.
against that.
What's the
See,
Yeah,
point?
I see what you mean.
What's the point? What's the point of
Tell
clear?
somebody how to spend their money.
What is the
if it's for their
utility?
sanity.
What is the utility of leaving to clear your mind, to come back, to have people dispose on your mind yet again, and to put all the garbage in your mind?
People,
I
they don't get a
know.
break. bro.
Yes,
They'll
I'm not saying
snap.
people shouldn't have a. Trust me, I understand. I'm not trying to say people shouldn't get
Can't
a
say you
break.
understand and then say, but you need a reason.
What I'm
That's what
s-
you're saying. I understand, but no.
What I'm saying is when I
You
travel,
need to be doing more.
no, what I'm saying is when I travel, I'm traveling for the sake of bringing back to my family that's stationed here. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're making moves elsewhere, you should be. If you're traveling for whatever reason you got going on, make sure especially if you consider yourself a righteous man or a black man of some esteem. Because if you're just a waste kind of like wayward kind of black man that just always want carnality, this message is not for you.
But I mean, unfortunately, you're gonna have those kinds of.
This message is
individuals.
not. This message is not for
the
them.
righteous.
This is for this nigga's mafia. Seriously.
God fearing. This is for the God fearing.
Listen,
man.
I'm trying to
Lie,
create
the married
proper
ones.
trade-offs. Say what?
I said the married ones.
Oh,
you know,
stop bullshit.
This is
But,
for the.
but this matters. This matters. I'm trying
No,
to say
absolutely. This
when you
matters
spread
not to-
yourself too thin,
Yeah.
the enemy knows how to cut and divide and conquer.
100%.
How are they
It's
able to
always
divide
been
and
that.
conquer? Because some idiots out there are saying, listen, I want to get out of this country and clear my mind. You cleared your mind. Stay in a place that has your mind cleared in. Make sure that move was the last move and succeed over there. But what happens is they come back to this mired position, and it's like you probably not only cleared your mind, that's good, but now you spent a lot to clear your mind to get back to the same situation that's going to dump on your mind. How much resources you think you have to keep on doing this? What's going to happen is they're going to bleed you out dry. So now you don't even have the proper utility to clear your mind when you actually do need to clear your mind. So if you're actually making a trip, go clear your mind and make sure that you understand the gifts and the tools and the different cultures you've learned to help you propel yourself in the bullshit that you got to return to. I'm not trying to say,
I think what you're saying
you know,
is the right
Don't
thing
make me
to
preach,
say.
Val.
I think what you're saying is the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Of course,
Real
'cause you're
nigga
not
shit.
trying. Basically, what you're trying to say is like, don't go to a place to fuck around just to fuck around and
Yeah.
find out. Because at the end of the day, I'll tell you myself, I never travel in a while because it's expensive, and
Yeah.
if you have responsibilities, shit you need to look after, you spending a large sum of money is not necessarily going to help you, you know, make better decisions when you're back home. So I understand that
Yeah.
you can't just travel because you think of traveling. Too many times we're looking at people on Instagram, we're watching buddies,
Exactly.
friends, whoever we're watching, and we're trying to catch up. We're trying
And
to
live
do the
vicariously.
things they're
Exactly.
doing, right? And we're like,
Yeah,
how is
emulate.
that person
Exactly.
doing it? How is this person doing it? I need to be there. I should be doing this. So we like to put ourselves in other people's shoes and feel like we're missing out too many times.
this
but
is why whenever you see,
unfortunately, you can't compare yourself to people. It's just like how, you
Yes,
know,
you can.
people,
Don't do
even
that.
in this city, you got people living in, you know, in condos that are costing them $2,500 a month. You get what I mean? Can they afford that? Yeah, they can pay the bills month to month, but like, how long is that going to be sustained? Now, for the look of it, it's like, wow, you're doing good, you're this and that. That's the outside surface, right? But then when you look at it, that person's stressing because if they're laid off, all of a sudden they're running back home or whatever the case they need to be
monitor
doing.
the Joneses, but don't keep up with the Joneses, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm getting from that situation. And I really wish there was women here to actually discuss this, because a lot of my grief and my strife would come from what I see that. Not grief. I don't really care
I
too
think,
much
I
about
think
it,
we
but
do need to bring a woman
because
for
they're
a
the
topic
ones
of
doing
this
all the
nature.
talking.
Yeah.
They're the ones that
That's
are
true,
always
because they do the
They
more.
do the most. Yeah.
And
But
when
do
they
they
come
have
back,
the same-
they don't have the funds, and so now they're blaming you for not taking them to that Burna Boy concert, right? That concert,
Certain women travel a lot.
Yeah.
right?
Certain women.
Usually the ones that are more like a whore or something, but That's a conversation.
They could be free spirited and
You know,
tour
30-year-old
them.
virgins are jumping on
Yeah.
flights. So my girl.
I
Probably
mean, some people it's adrenaline rush for them. You know, they enjoy the fact that they're in
People like the news.
a new. Yeah,
highlights,
they like
bro.
they
highlights.
they like the highlights.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Again,
I want
the
to know the
highlight
highlights
reels.
in Japan, fam. Before
Everyone's
we
looking for a spark in
Yeah.
life. So
Exactly.
people sometimes travel
Well,
for that spark. Some
exactly.
people buy Gucci
Yeah.
for that spark. Some people get a car for that spark.
Mhm.
It
Treat
depends what
yourself.
you want.
So-
Treat yourself from time to time,
Yeah.
but remember, eating candy for lunch, dinner, and breakfast is not the way to be. So if you're looking for whatever funds you have to always,
Yeah.
start supporting this kind of habit, maybe
Yeah.
that's a problem,
Mhm.
and maybe realize that's not going to be the solution. Whatever you're trying to chase us outside.
There you go.
So,
That's
so what is it that Omar wants to know about Japan?
I want
Which
to know the
aspect of
highlights,
it?
brother. Give me the highlights of Tokyo.
Mhm.
Highlights. Give me the 2 top things that was like, yo,
He wants to know where
sick,
you were.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
yeah.
He wants to know the carnality.
One party, one
Carnality.
view. Yeah, that's what I want to know. I want to know what happened.
Didn't do the club scene in Tokyo. Red Light District, that was cool.
Sheesh.
We got Kyoto is a more chilled spot. So if you wanted to clear your mind, you wanted to do hiking, you wanted to go look at shrines and stuff of that nature.
But they
You
also
like to
have
be-
clubs.
Yeah, they have clubs.
They have spaces. there, yeah.
I didn't do the club scene there, but I did do. Actually, I did do a club out in Kyoto. That one was all right. It wasn't like so crazy, but I thought it was all right.
In the club, did you find your wife?
No, I wasn't looking for one. I guess you have to be in that mind space.
Well, did you find your wife for the night?
Yes.
You're
We
looking
have
for
many
carnality.
wives.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
we have
So,
many wives.
Cardinal
high five.
Cardinal sin.
Carnality.
Yeah,
Carnality.
carnality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tokyo
Carnal-
highlight.
Carn-
What's the craziest thing that you did in Tokyo? The
I told you, Red
craziest
Light
view?
District. Then
Osaka. Craziest spot.
Giraffe. If there's a club called Giraffe over there, there's
Mhm.
another club called Ghosts. Those are 2 major spots you should hit up.
How
if
was
you
the
are ever
canal,
in-
bro? How was the canal? Did it
Oh
blow
man,
your
I was
mind
there
at
every
that
day
time?
because I was actually so the canal that Omar's talking about is this place called Dotonbori. That's what the area is called, Namba Station. Well, basically, there's a canal, and everything you want to see is right there in one specific area. And that's where everybody kind of gets together. And I would always walk down to the canal because I was so close to it. Great spot. Definitely, you should check out Osaka. Visit that spot.
Kyoto.
Kyoto.
Craziest spot. Craziest thing you see.
Craziest thing I seen. Definitely the monkey park and the
There's more like
Nara deers, because the deers were bowing. You give them food, they bow.
oh yeah.
That's crazy. Was
Yeah.
it like bread?
Crackers, like a kind of cookie or something like that. Yeah. So as soon as you give it to them, they'll bow even before you give it to them. So that was interesting because
Even the deer are polite.
yeah,
That's
even the
crazy,
deers,
son.
so yeah, that was the
That's
crazy thing. 'Cause, like,
crazy.
even the deers are polite. Like, what kind of society
They
is
probably
this?
been lined up.
They're like, right,
Yeah,
it's
like,
so funny,
single violent, structured
So people were
society.
actually, so what
That's
foreigners would say
crazy.
is, did they teach the deers to do this? But it's like,
Of
there's
course, yeah.
there's so many deers. How did you teach? Like, it's like a park of like
Mm-hmm.
deer. So basically, they built a park within where the deers are. So they're like, this can't possibly be someone teaching the deers because these are like kind of like wild deers that,
Mhm.
and you're just kind of walking in
Mhm.
their home and they're just
Mhm.
kind of chilling.
They learn how
But
to
they
eat.
just kind of learned how to bow like over
Yeah.
time when all the foreigners just
Mhm.
coming in and whatnot. And Japanese always bow. So maybe they were just watching for a long period of time. It's like, huh, dude, I guess this
Creatures
is a
of
thing.
habit.
Yeah,
Crazy,
creatures of habit, just
crazy.
watching
Never
them bow. all the
know,
time.
never know.
Because like they always went to the shrines and they would always bow, right? So the deers could see them, right? And eventually they picked up on the bowing gesture and they noticed that they get food off that. So yeah, creatures
Exactly,
of habit.
yeah. That's
Okinawa. Hit me
Oh,
with that
Okinawa
heat
was,
in Okinawa. First of all, tell me the temperature, brother. What time did
Temperature,
you
we're
go
talking
and tell me the
about
temperature out there?
25 degrees, 23 to 25 degrees. We're out with
We're
no
short.
humidity.
Yeah, no, look lit.
So no humidity,
But yeah, it's hot where
blue
you were.
skies.
One day in the summer, you went in the winter.
Yeah, you got the ocean, you got the sea, so it was very blue. It's basically one of Japanese's gems off the mainland of Japan. A lot of people don't know of Okinawa. A lot of people will not ever hit Japan in their life, let alone Okinawa. Okinawa is also an island that used to be called the Ryukyu Islands, but then it got turned into Okinawa after the Japanese had come in. But that's definitely a place you want to go to if you ever go to Japan. I definitely recommend that. And also the individuals that live there are the longest living humans. So they live past 100 years old. So whatever they're eating over there is definitely helping them to age very well. And apparently they don't drink too much alcohol and they eat a lot of seafood and stuff of that nature. But yeah, it was definitely great. I met a lot of great people there, women, beautiful women out there, very down to earth, stuff of that nature. So I definitely would recommend to go to Okinawa, and just the scenery alone is mind blowing.
My last question, brother. My last question. How was Don Quixote?
Don Quixote was cool. So Don
What?
Quixote,
Everything.
it has
Ever in
everything.
life.
Yeah. So you explained Don Quixote, guy. Yeah, that
Right,
was
you
pretty
been,
crazy.
You been. You went to Don Quixote? Tell me, fam.
Don Quixote is in every city.
Don Quixote is the best part of maybe Japan. It's
What
crazy.
is, what is Don Quixote? Whatever you guys are
Don
talking
Quixote is
about.
like let's say like a Mark's Warehouse kind of.
Mark, no
No,
way.
it's like what's it
It's
called?
like Walmart
Muji.
mixed
No,
with
it's like-
Sears,
so it's like a
mixed with
Muji?
Chinatown.
No,
Mixed
like
with,
you see like Muji, the
Yeah,
Japanese.
Mochi, yeah.
yeah. It's like that. It's like that Muji, but has multiple floors. Just imagine the place that has multiple floors, all like cheap items and
like 7
everything.
floors, everything.
Yeah, 7 floors of everything you need.
Everything.
Everything you need, like
Liquor.
Yeah,
Did you go to the aisle with the sex toys and all that? The
yeah.
curtain?
And
I
then
was
they
about to
have
say,
like
it's
they
like-
have something
Bruh.
that comes down like 18
Bruh.
plus and stuff of that nature.
Bruh. I'd never seen such crazy stuff. All the sex toys, all
Carnality.
that stuff.
Carnality.
Carnality.
But you have to know.
But to
how
be
they
fair, we're
live.
talking about Japan. Japan has a crazy like porn
Carnal
industry.
element. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, as you know, as friendly as they are, they do have their dark side, right? Just
Mhm.
like every country
a lot of
does,
suicides.
right?
Oh, yeah, true.
They have a lot of suicides as
probably
well.
leading
A,
Korea.
a lot of perversion. I got to put that
Yeah,
out there.
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of that going on. Where the women have their separate cars that they're in and trains.
I never seen that when I was there. I seen that.
seen
You
it.
saw that. I was like,
seen
that's
that, yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. I went in just to do a little videotape and I came out. But
That's
So
fly.
I'm paying attention to these little nuances of the culture. And then guys at nighttime, I was actually surprised. Japanese guys will try and pick up women.
They definitely
They do that. They do
Oh,
that.
yeah?
They're
I have,
not
I have a
as
story.
timid as you may think they are. They're not that timid.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
I have a story. So I was going to meet this girl. So I'm late or whatever. I'm going there in an Uber. As I get there and I'm walking up on her, there's a Japanese. I see a Japanese guy stop and start talking to this girl.
Wow.
He's talking to her. He's talking to her. Da, 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 da. And eventually I'm walking up. So I'm kind of just like standing there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, do your thing straight. If this is what you like, this is what you like. You know what I mean? Because I'm definitely different than what this guy is right here. So she's looking at me and I'm kind of like, whatever. And then he looks at me. He goes, oh, this is you? I go, brother, if she wants you, she wants you. Like, I'm here what she done. Like, you know, she told me later, if I had let her go with that guy, she never would have messed with me. But I was like this. I'm just letting it play. Those guys definitely are not scared,
They're not,
especially
yeah.
foreign girls.
Yeah, they're not. They're not scared. And that was something
shock
that
for you.
that shocked me
Yeah.
because I haven't seen that type
That
of
depiction.
brazen behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like where you're at the subway and the girl's at the subway, and then you see the guy actually in the move to talk to the girl and talking to her, getting rejected, whatever. But at the same time, just that ballsiness, you know what I mean? Like that bravado, like, I don't care. I'm going to go talk to whatever girl I want to talk to.
They depict them like they're not like
yes,
that.
exactly.
They're
They-
like that.
Yeah, exactly. So they depict them
like
as like
that.
incels and I'm so afraid and I don't do nothing and I'm just in my home. That's not exactly how they behave.
Did you see any
In
fights?
some of those regions,
Didn't
though.
see
It's
any
not all
fights.
regions. It's
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Some
but
of
not
those
all
regions,
regions
yeah.
are like that. But I seen this in Tokyo, and
Yeah,
Tokyo's
Tokyo.
pretty rigid. So I can imagine how much people would do that in Osaka. But yeah,
True.
and different spots will produce different types of individuals. So yeah, it does depend on the location you're
yeah.
at and the mannerisms that they have in those specific areas.
What's
But,
up?
yeah.
Sound like a dope trip. I'll say that much. I need to hit up Japan.
Don Quixote.
Carnality.
Exactly.
Carnality at its finest.
No. But
Sometimes the best of fun.
Sometimes, yeah, that's what I'm
Sometimes the
saying.
best of
Sometimes,
fun, I'll tell you.
You never know how long you're gonna be here, man. You have to enjoy yourself.
and that's another thing too. You're
Some would
totally-
argue that, you're right?
Yeah, you're right. Listen, you're making some good points with that. You
Yeah,
are.
man. Not every day's promise. So, you know, enjoy while it lasts. But I will say there are consequences to every choice.
Real talk.
And I think that's how we're gonna wrap it up.
And we are out.
Get it.
Deuces.